So I have this theory as a photographer. I go out and there's people who are always telling me I don't look good in front of the camera, right? Or I hate having my picture taken because I never look good. But the funny thing is, it's always the really good looking people who say that. So I have this little theory that the better looking you are, the more picky you are about your looks. And so you're the one who doesn't pick. Ugly people don't care. I know that sounds bad, but it's true. People who don't care about their appearance don't care about the pictures so much, unless it's really bad and they, don't want it to be like that. But mostly they
Yeah.
don't. I'm just the way I am. So why can't we just accept each other the way we are and just be?
Yeah, I think that because society in general holds like more attractive people to a higher standard, then they're like, I can't let society see me in a position where I'm not perceived as like as attractive or whatever.
Interesting. So it's society's fault. It's not the person's fault.
I feel like society has bred us to be this way, like very concerned about how we're presenting to the world. Like there are social rules. Like I'm not supposed to go out to like my job in my pajamas or like the no shirt, no shoes,
No
no
service.
service or whatever.
Yeah.
Like society has these rules where you can't go into a shop without a shirt on or without shoes on.
And so that makes you pickier when you're better looking?
Well, so then it's just like, they like society has these rules about what we're supposed to look like. And there's of course those people who are like, I'm gonna, what's the saying, live to the beat of my own drum. And they're like, it doesn't matter. I am who I am. But then there's other people who are like, they can't let anyone see them in like a compromised position, basically, where they're not as attractive.
So I feel like that's somewhat different for men and women, but it's not, but it still applies on both sides, right? Like I think for women, there's a lot more glamour kind of look to that, right? What it needs to be. And for
Mhm.
men, there's not the glamour, but you're not allowed to express yourself in any kind of way that you're not allowed to express yourself at all, really. Like you have to dress drab, you have to dress straight, you have to dress, you know, nothing that's going to call you out. Yeah.
Yeah, well, exactly, right? And then so if you like are in pictures, especially in like family photos or like wedding photos, that like these are pictures that a lot of people are going to see, then I feel like those ones people would be more concerned about how they look and how they're going to be perceived. Like, I haven't even gotten all the way through the first episode, but I started watching Bridgerton, and it's kind of like a Gossip Girl. Where there's this anonymous writer who writes basically just gossip about all the big families, and of course all the girls are being presented because they need to find husbands. So in the early 1800s, when like yeah all these daughters are being like groomed to be presentable and try to catch the eye of all these men. And the main character is like, this is my value. Just like, this is what I've been raised for. I've been raised to become a wife. And so if I can't find a husband, what am I worth? And I feel like a lot of today's views around attractiveness and presentation to society are still from that kind of, you have to kind of make yourself as presentable and desirable as possible to be able to be successful and get people to like you and like all that,
It's interesting. So if we try and apply that on the guys' side of things, right? Like the guys were all raised to be breadwinners and protectors, and they were to look after their family, right? And
Mhm.
when they didn't meet that, they also felt worthless, right?
Mhm.
And yet, what you just described on the girls' side, we don't see that. We see that somehow as being misogynistic, for lack of a better word. But when we look at that kind of oppression on the guy's side, we don't see it that way. We don't see it, as with the same kind of light, right?
I think it's different though because like women did want to break out of those roles, but it was men who put them in those roles. Whereas on the guy's side, it was men who put themselves in the role of the husband, breadwinner. And when women were like, I want something more, men were like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, no, because this is all I know.
Yeah.
So
So the big difference is the power in the men, not in the actual oppression.
yeah,
Call it that, right?
where yeah, exactly, yeah, where the like women didn't have any power, so then they fought for it to become something more than just a wife.
Hmm.
Yeah.
There really is no parallel, is there, on the guy's side? Yeah. That's what a lot of guys need to
It's
realize.
hard because it's hard because in history, like men were the ones that made the rules. Like so they couldn't really fight them and I mean, like of course there are the men who have fought for like women's rights, but they couldn't really fight to push away from the rules because in a sense they were the ones that made them. And of course there are the men who are
They
like,
can't push away from the rules, though. I mean, if they're the ones that made them, they're also the ones that can break them.
well, exactly. And that's the thing, though, is they've made the rules, so they're the ones that can break them. Whereas women did not make the rules, so they were not allowed to break them. And then when they did break them, men got upset because they were like, what about the system we had created? So
So if women were to create the system, what would it look like?
I fear that depending on the women making the rules, it would look the same, just reversed. Obviously, a lot of women would just make it equal, but I think what you also have to consider is do we have the knowledge of how it has played out in these roles when we think about if women were the rule makers, men were in charge.
So I guess when I asked the question, what I was thinking was, what do women feel needs to be changed to make it right? Not to make it justice or vengeful or anything like that,
Okay,
but just what
so
what would it look like?
I think that, equal pay, equal opportunity, equal, like just all the stuff that we've been fighting for anyways would just come into play a lot faster.
Do you think there are things though that maybe women don't consider from the man's side?
I don't think it's fair to say that women don't think about this stuff because I think that they do. It's just that now they're starting to have a voice for themselves and starting to realize how much of their life is dictated by other people. And I think they're just trying to take some of that back.
You're right. I mean, I'm not saying that women don't think about those things, and I don't think it's fair to say that men don't think about women's issues too. I think that we all do consider each other. At least if you're being fair and right, you will consider each other.